Hey everyone, how's it going? Dragonite is known as one of the best Pokemon in Generation 1, but what if Professor Oak, rather than giving you a standard starter Pokemon, gave you a Dratini? How quickly could you complete the game? And how would that compare to the other starter Pokemon and other pseudo-legendaries? This is the third in the pseudo-legendary series. If I can figure out how the card thingies work in the top right, you should be able to watch the Larvitar video and then the Beldum video. And this was very much requested, the Dratini video. A lot of people think this will be one of the best Pokemon. I'm going to tell you that I am pressing X, even though the Game Boy Advance does not have an X button, to doubt, because I really think that Dratini sucks in this game. Not like generally, it looks great, although it's the wrong color. Here are the problems I see with Dratini. So, all these Pokemon, just to refresh, just in case we're all on the same page, these are called pseudo-legendary Pokemon. They all level up very slowly. This is going to be a problem for Brock when we look at Dratini's starting moveset. It's not good. Wrap is terrible. It is one of the worst moves I could imagine to start with, especially for Brock. You might not think so, but this is not Generation 1 Wrap. It misses a fair bit, does like no damage, and like the recurring Wrap damage in this generation is just 1/16 rounded down. In other words, if you have anything less than 32 HP, which most of these early Pokemon do, it's just doing an extra 1 HP every turn. Suffice to say, that's nothing. And although it will get a really useful move in Twister, level 15 for a slow level up Pokemon takes 5 ever. No, it takes 6 ever. We're going one above 5 ever here. One last refresher, as of now, here are the rankings of all the starter Pokemon and the 2 pseudo-legendaries. You can see that the starter Pokemon are really good. They start good and they keep being good. Even though, yes, pseudo-legendaries are better, it takes so darn long to get them. And that's the secondary thing. It takes Dratini forever to become a Dragonair, and it takes Dragonair forever to become a Dragonite. There is a 25 level gap between both, starting with a level 5 Dratini, of course. So that's gonna suck. But first, a big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Raycon, featuring their awesome bone conduction headphones. As a Canadian, I'm very grateful that the weather is going to warm up. And you know what that means? Mother's Day is actually right around the corner, and a perfect gift for mom are these bone conduction headphones. How else will she hear all the things you need to tell her while she is trying to listen to her music or podcast or audiobook? And these bone conduction headphones are perfect at that. The sound is really good. My ears, as you can see, are wide open, so I can hear everything around me. This is especially great for someone who likes to walk around outside. You can hear traffic, you're safe, and the music crystal clear. These are built for all-day use with 13 hours of battery life, IP68 waterproof and dustproof. And look at this, I'm trying to shake it off. I have used these while warming up for sports, and they have always stayed on my ear perfectly. And with a 30-day happiness guarantee, you can be rest assured that you can try them out and you're probably going to like them too. My Raycons are my go-to for when I walk the dog, and it's actually my mother's dog, so I think she would like them for the exact same purpose. And on that note, celebrate the moms in your life. Go to buyraycon.com/jrose11bc to get 15% off your Raycon bone conduction headphones. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring. Okay. So, I said that I doubted Dratini would be the best, but it got off to a brutal start. This is a random bug catcher, Doug. And if you're from my stream, you know that this guy was not going to be fun because of his name. Shout out. Anyway, the point I'm actually making is that this should be an easy battle for like any Pokemon. We lost. Several times, in fact. And you might be like, all right, J-Rose, just battle another guy. Dude, this is the second bug catcher in the freaking game. How can we not win this? And it just goes to show you, this is going to be horrendous. It's not just Doug, by the way. Anthony over here, another trainer we lose to. This guy's got Caterpie. Now, of course, I'm eventually going to win, and the way I do that was by picking the right trainers to battle at the right time. As it would turn out, the easiest trainer to battle is actually the only one that's mandatory, and it still took me like 5 tries, Bug Catcher Sammy. And this is a good time to mention, normally I would just battle a bunch of wild Pokemon, but with Wrap, it takes like 7 ever. Okay, more like 4 ever, but like, you know what I mean? It takes a really long time. It's a weak move. And so I want to battle as few Pokemon as possible because battling wastes a ton of in-game time because of Wrap. Now, unsurprisingly, eventually I start to make progress against the various trainers, none of whom have rock Pokemon or are, you know, Brock. So let's skip ahead a little bit so I can show you my first battle versus Brock. So we know he leads with Geodude, right? All I can do is Wrap because it's going to go for Defense Curl. And you can see I can get it to about half health, but Tackle does a lot. And by the way, that wasn't Brock. I lied. That was Liam. Some of you probably caught that because the Geodude was the wrong level. In Red and Blue, he doesn't have a Geodude. He'd have a Diglett there. But yeah, I can't even get past Liam's Geodude. That's not going to work. I realized that there was never going to be a chance I could beat Brock before level 15. I would try again, and I'll show you that. But the quickest way to gain both EVs to boost my attack and experience points, which both boost my attack and, you know, everything, is to just beat the Pokemon here on Route 22, the Mankey and the Spearow, although the Mankey are the only ones that give attack. It's very time consuming. I need to go back to the center often to either get my power points back or to heal, but that is what we're going to have to do. We have been doing this run for 36 real-world minutes. There are many runs where I am at least halfway finished, if not almost done. Well, at least that's Red and Blue, so that's not fair to compare to. But like, holy guacamole, is Dratini having a tough time. It took us 2 hours and 19 in-game minutes to get to Brock. That's abominable. But that's what I needed to get to level 15, and I get a base 40 power special move in Twister. It has a chance to flinch, but this is the only way because defensively, look, Rock Tomb, look how much it does. Like, we're actually not even guaranteed to win with Twister. You could see how with Wrap, this was just totally impossible. So, yeah. That's how this run began. And unlike in other runs where we level up to a really high level, it's not as if we got a super powerful cheat move. Like Dragon Rage, you don't get till a lot later. That would be really cheap and really good. But Twister is reasonably powered, and we're not that over-leveled. This becomes apparent when we fight Super Nerd Miguel. I mean, I was at 31 HP to start, but you can see between the poison, which I actually can shed because Dratini's in-game ability is shed skin, where within battle, I think it's a 30% chance, or is it 25%? Whatever, you can look it up, it doesn't matter. It has a chance to just drop its status, which is great. Unfortunately, the only Pokemon that's actually good, Dragonite, loses that ability for a useless one in Inner Focus, which prevents flinching, which almost never happens. So, hooray, but yeah, that's not a good sign. But hold on for a minute, Gyros. Misty can't hit you that hard because you're Dragon type. So everything should be good, right? Well, no. No, it isn't. In fact, Starmie gets me down to 17 HP, and then I get Staryu after a paralysis and some really clutch flinches to half HP. And that was with a ton of luck. So no, that's not going to work. What about our good old pal Rival 2? Well, despite all that time we invested, we are the same level as the Pidgeotto, and we can use a combination of Twister and Thunder Wave to kind of lock it into place. But unfortunately, while we do get somewhat lucky and make it to Squirtle, in this case the third Pokemon, that's about as good as we get for quite a while. So you might be wondering, what can you do? Well, I can go into Misty's gym and battle the trainers there. And that does give me at least one more level, which is nice. I then try battling Misty again, because I'm already here, why not? And, I mean, it goes better than the first time. Like, genuinely, it goes better. At least the Staryu part does. Actually, I guess that doesn't really mean anything because the start me part goes worse. So no, it goes worse. What was I saying? That's the opposite of better. It's bad. So where do I do? What do I go? I'm so mixed up, I'm not even saying the words properly. Well, I haven't actually caught any Pokemon, so I was just going to battle Rival 2 over and over again, as this was the most efficient way to gain a bunch of experience points. But yeah, fun fact, I get absurdly good luck and actually beat him. Which was nice, but not what I was trying to do. I didn't actually think I was going to win, and ultimately, I have no interest in resetting here because honestly, those levels probably could have done us good and would have been a good place to grind levels. Like, wild Pokemon take forever with Dratini. So, we're gonna progress, but I'm not feeling great right now. Although, we are getting closer to Dragon Rage, which is gonna be nice. Although, by the time we get it, it's not gonna be as good as it would have been 10 levels ago. Anywho, thankfully, the bridge isn't too bad, and I'm able to make it past. But it's at this point we really have to battle Misty. Now, I do have an extra tool in my toolkit because I did opt to go and battle an extra trainer in order to go behind him and grab the TM here, which is not Seismic Toss, it's Secret Power, base 70 with a 30% chance to paralyze. So, poor man's Body Slam, essentially. Now, as we save in front of Misty, we're at 302. To put that into context, as bad as I played it, the Mewtwo run, and yes, Mewtwo doesn't need to evolve, we were done. So I just think that's important to put into context how much different it is, especially not only FireRed and LeafGreen to Red and Blue, but having to start with a slow, pre-evolved Pokemon. Oh, it's terrible. But in addition to Secret Power, we also have Dragon Rage, which one-shot star you, and two-shot star me, which I knew would be what I needed to beat Misty. So far, we've needed a new move to beat both gym leaders. I actually don't think Surge is going to be as difficult because we have the moves we probably need, but we're likely not going to have Dragonair in time. We're going to have to use Dratini. Before that, though, we still have Rival 3. Now, I don't think it'll be as bad as Rival 2, anywhere close to that. Dragon Rage is still pretty good. I go for Secret Power and then Dragon Rage, which is a two-shot. It was going to two-shot regardless. And then Dragon Rage nearly one-shots Eradicate. I go to Secret Power. I'm trying to preserve power points because we might need 8. And then I get Secret Power disabled, which would have done more than Dragon Rage. Then I get Kinesis, so Dragon Rage misses. And then I reset. So we do lose, but whatever. All right, take 2, Rival 3. This time I'm going to go Secret Power. I'm going to try to get the Paralysis. I get a crit. That's why I went for Secret Power. The Paralysis would be pretty nice. I don't get it here, that's fine. Now I know that Kadabra's gonna outspeed, but hopefully it misses with Disable, that's fine. And we don't one-shot anyway, and I should have gone Dragon Rage there, but thankfully it missed again. And now I'm gonna go Dragon Rage, it goes Withdraw, Wartortle does, and that's Rival 3, not bad. We're still 6 levels away from Dragonair. Alright, so Surge, we're gonna have our Dratini already paralyzed from the Pikachu that's mandatory beforehand. I do have Shed Skin, so pretty sure we'll lose it. We get hit with Shockwave, Secret Power, we paralyze, we knock it out. Then Quick Attack, I can go Secret Power here because I'm already paralyzed. And now it would outspeed anyway. Double Team, darn, I'm paralyzed. Double Team, Dragon Rage hits. Shed Skin, I'm not paralyzed. It still outspeeds, I miss. Shockwave, come on. Yay, we didn't lose to Surge, nice. All right, so that is the first third or so of the run. It was rough. It was really rough. And I'm not necessarily anticipating things getting that much easier because even though when we get through Rock Tunnel, we are going to probably have Dragonair, I think. And we do have, you may have noticed, Water Pulse for, well, not Whitgag because they don't self-destruct, but here you go. Hiker, what's his name? Dudley. But yeah, we do have Water Pulse from Misty. It's actually better than Bubble Beam anyway. But we're going to fast forward a little bit, and we're going to get to the next major battle, which I sometimes call Giovanni number 2 erroneously, but it's Giovanni number 1, and I actually was incorrect. By the time we get here, although it happened because of some Team Rocket members just before, we have Dragonair, and I'll talk about how Dragonair is better in just a second. So we're going to go Water Pulse on Onix. We knock it out. Very good. We're going to go Water Pulse on Rhyhorn. I do need to heal here. And I'm going to try Dragon Rage. It's a 3-shot. Bite is fine. Twister looking for the flinch. All right, Mega Punch. So as I beat Giovanni, I'm just going to hope for a little luck because I screwed up my health. Let's talk about what makes Dragonair a bit better and some problem I have with it, because there is a problem. This is a problem I didn't mention the entire Dragon blank line. So Dratini is really weak. 300 base stats with pretty much even in everything is not great. Dragonair is pretty much even in everything, but it gets a pretty sizable increase to 420. Hey, funny number. But there is something I should mention as to why these Pokemon aren't my favorite. If we look at, actually, let's look at Dragonite's TM move list. You'll notice that most of the best TMs are special moves. And this is a problem because if we look at Dragonair and Dragonite's the same way, they have a way more attack than special attack. Now, it's kind of unfortunate that I love playing Gens 1 through 3. You guys know that's my favorite. They're also quicker to play through. But if we were to do this challenge in Heart Gold Soul Silver, not only would we have Garchomp, but in addition, maybe I'll do these in Heart Gold Soul Silver. I don't know. Does anyone even want to see those? I think you guys like the first 3 generations. I know everyone in the comments is going to say yes, but I worry that I'm going to spend all this time and then people will be like, why didn't you do FireRed LeafGreen? Except they won't actually say it, right? They'll just watch a different video. Sorry, I'm rambling. Summarize all my points. The point I was making is that the physical special split really hurts Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite because Dragon is special in Generation 3. And the fact that all elemental moves, fire, water, etc., I just made up that term, but the fact they are all also special really hurts because Earthquake just isn't good enough for us. In Generation 4, Dragon Claw is physical, Outrage is physical. We have way more moves, we have way more options, and I think at least Dragonite would be a lot better. I think it doesn't make that big a difference for Dratini and Dragonair, but it definitely makes a difference. Anyway, let's just keep going for now. It's very possible you just watched every second of the stream up until Rival 4, but Rival 4 is pretty okay. We're going to go Secret Power. At this point, Secret Power and Dragon Rage will do about the same, but we are going to get hit by Intimidate from Growlithe, and so at this point, Dragon Rage actually becomes a little better. We're even going to use Twister a little bit. It's not quick, but it's easy, and that's usually how Rival 4 goes. So it's at this point we can kind of skip ahead. There's nothing in Pokemon Tower that's difficult. We're also going to have Water Pulse for the Marowak. First time that won't be a problem for us, which is nice. But what will be a problem for us is Erica, who I battled next. And I'm actually surprised that she was such a problem. Now, admittedly, I do go in poisoned and not at full HP. And, you know, that did hurt. But at the same time, it's going to be a 3-shot on Victory Bell. And Erica, unlike in Red and Blue, has the ability to heal. So I'm actually going to leave. Again, I understand if I was at full health, this would have been not as much of an easy victory for Erica. But I just figured, I forgot that the Victory Bell has Acid in this generation. Because in Gen 1, it's really stuck with basically nothing to hit a Dragon Pokemon. So that's okay. We're going to move on. And there's not a lot for us to do, honestly. The next big thing after getting Surf is to go and battle Koga. And yeah, it didn't go well either. But you're not going to see that right now because I actually did so badly against the trainers in his gym. I did level up a little bit. So battling Erica, yes, I'm at full health and I'm not poisoned. But now, more importantly, Return does half. I get Stun Spored, I shed my skin, and now we can go double Dragon Rage on Tangela. Once again, get poisoned and shed my skin. Too bad Dragonite doesn't have this ability. We could get Agility here, and for once, I'm actually going to get Statused. That is actually something I didn't think about, which is that this AI seems to prioritize statusing me, and since I was already statused, Erica just attacked me. So I made it way harder on myself, but also it being a 2-hit KO made it way faster. Unfortunately, it's at this point where I'm going to show you a Koga battle that does not go very well. Now, the reason why should be kind of obvious. I don't really have great... Actually, I didn't even think about coughing using self-destruct, mind you. But against Muck, you're going to see Return is my best move. It's base 102 power. My friendship is, or probably close to, maxed, and it did nothing. You can see I'm not very confident in battling Koga and didn't even save in front of him because I think I'm just going to leave. So we're just going to fast forward to the second battle. But yeah, it just takes too many hits. In fact, I get hit by Smokescreen and try a third battle. This one goes a bit better. I actually make it almost past Muck. The problem is, again, this isn't red and blue. The trainers heal here. And if they heal, all that progress I just did is basically undone. So what I'm going to do is think, and the only other place really to go is Silph Company. Now, there are a lot of trainers to fight, and I fought some of them, but 5 hours in, I'm going to see what it would be like to battle Rival Fivel, because maybe it'll be easier. Well, he leads with Pidgeot, and I actually out-level it. Spoiler, this is going to go terribly. I don't even need to tell you that. It's a 3-shot, and I'm at half health right after Pidgeot, which is bad. And then Growlithe, well, actually, I get some pretty good luck with Growlithe with a Water Pulse Confusion. Execute does status me, and I'm unable to get that taken away. And I'm also unable to knock out Alakazam. So it's at this point, I'm kind of thinking about a lot of stuff. So we have 7 rare candies right now. There is an 8th that is available in Silph Company that I can get, and trainers to fight. The problem is, what we've done in the previous pseudo-legendary runs is we've kind of just used them all right at the end to get the final form, which makes things way easier. If I use them now, obviously I wouldn't get Dragonite, but it might push Dragonair over the top instead of having to battle a bunch of trainers, which is really slow. So I do battle some trainers. I also went to get Substitute. I try without using the rare candies and just using Substitute, and frankly, it goes actually worse than before. So because of that, I try it with rare candies and Substitute. So we're going to Substitute against Pidgeot, but as it turns out, it always goes for Wing Attack. But since we use the rare candies, actually, I was worried about a Sand Attack, so I should only use it after the first attack, but we're still behind it, and that's clutch because now Intimidate doesn't hit us. Water Pulse doesn't knock it out, and yeah, so that actually doesn't work. I've used one extra Substitute here, but I do want to be behind it for Execute as well, so it can't use something like Leech Seed or Stun Spore or something annoying, and there you go, Stun Spore, something annoying. And now we're probably going to one-shot Alakazam with Return. And all I need is not the worst luck in the known universe. Well, Protect is fine. It should be a 3-shot with Dragon Rage. In fact, let me try Return. Seems to be doing a bit more. Hey, there's the worst luck. Fun fact, that exact crit happened, I think, once or twice more. I can't remember. And the funny thing is, we're going to speed through it, but this battle, I arguably get worse luck than the one where I got that crit. Actually, both of them where I got the crit, because the Future Sight actually hits me, and I still win. Because as long as it doesn't crit, I'm fine. Now, because I battle extra trainers, I do have the healing spot open, and this is good not just for HP, but power points. And battling Giovanni number 2, this one actually Giovanni number 2, we're going to use Substitute here just because I'm a little worried about being poisoned, although contact damage, I believe, can still poison me. Yeah, it can. See? Just happened. But it does protect me a little bit from the attacks, gives me a little bit of buffer. And you might ask, why teach Water Pulse or not have Surf? Honestly, I should just teach Surf because it's just better. And at this point, I can delete it because of the move deleter. So that's actually a bit of something of... It's a case of me not really thinking. In Gen 1, you can't do it because you can't delete it. But the move deleter is in Fuchsia. I will be using it later. But yeah, is what it is. Anyway, at this point, I'm actually pretty sure we're going to destroy Sabrina. So we're actually going to do the rare thing and beat Sabrina before we beat Koga. We don't do that often, but it makes sense here. Okay, so I'm hoping we just outspeed and one-shot everything. So we're at level 48. So it's going to be true of Kadabra and Mr. Mime. Very good, very good. And Venomoth, probably not. I actually should... Okay, that's fine. I probably should have substituted there. And then Alakazam, we probably don't outspeed. Calm Mind. Okay, Return. Oh, nice. We one-shot. I didn't actually expect that. We are 6 levels away. Remember, Dragonite is level 55. Not level 50 like Metagross and our next Pokemon we're going to do, Salamence. So that's important and annoying. Now, at this point, I'd love to go and battle Blaine because that would be easy, but I can't do that right now So I am going to go battle Koga. Again, should probably use Surf, but I think Return is actually a little stronger. I'm not sure. Water Pulse one-shots. The one nice thing about Water Pulse is there is a 20% chance to confuse, and that is good. Return looks like it's going to two-shot Muck, which is pretty nice. And I'm actually going to go back mine to Substitute in case... Okay, perfect. I thought I might go for Toxic, and perfect. So I'm behind a Substitute. Even if this Coughing went for Self-Destruct, we'd be fine. Try to confuse it. It goes for Sludge. All right, this is excellent. And now Wheezing... I'm going to try to confuse it with Water Pulse. Smoke Screen fails. I'm going to try to confuse it. Nice crit. It's confused. Darn. And, all right, I can use Substitute here. I know the heal is happening. Let's see how much Return does. Oh, wait, I meant to... Okay, fine. Dragon Rage is actually fine. It has under 120 HP. And, oh, we take that. Nice. Okay, that was pretty good. And it only took a bunch of rare candies and delaying this... Well... How many gyms? I need 2 gyms and Giovanni too and Rival Fivel. So 4 major battles. Blaine won't be so tough, I think. I should mention I battled all the trainers first because I need experience and I do have Surf. Look at that. I don't care about Intimidate and I don't think I need to go behind a Substitute. So I'm just going to go Surf, which will one-shot Growlithe. You can see I'm at level 51. I am close to Dragonite. We're going to Surf Ponyta. I think, do we outspeed? We do outspeed the Pokemon with Rabbit in its name. But we don't one-shot, and Fire Blast does nothing. It heals twice, which is irritating, but eventually I knock it out. And then our Arcanine does have Takedown, but it goes for Fire Blast. It even crits with Fire Blast, but the victory is easy. And now we get to go and battle Giovanni 2, or 3. Hey, I almost got that wrong a different way. But this time things are going to be a little different than we're used to seeing. I don't typically battle the trainers in his gym because they have a lot of Pokemon. However, we need a Dragonite ASAP. In fact, ideally, we actually delay evolution because in theory for Rival 6, Outrage, although it's only base 90 in Gen 3, might be a useful move. So I'd like to get to level 56 for Rival 6. Now, if you're wondering, Giovanni number 3 is super easy even with Dragonair, but I actually reset the game because I realized I need to battle the trainers here. They have more rock and ground Pokemon than they typically do in Red and Blue. And although some of them are kind of tough, by the time I make it to Giovanni number 3 the second time around, it's still Dragonair, but I'm much closer to Dragonite. You already know I'm going to win this. It's easy. It's a one-shot, and then a one-shot, and then a two-shot. Well, more because of the heals. And then another two-shot, and then a one-shot. I don't quite get to level 55. So what I'm going to do is fly to Fuchsia and just battle this Swimmer because he's close. Honestly, I would do this anyway, even if I wasn't getting Outrage, because I'm going to use the rare candy here. It just makes sense. And that means we have a Dragonite level 56 with Outrage, and that should make Rival 6 pretty easy. I hope, because if not, we're in trouble. All right, so... what we're going to do here is we're at level 56. I may want to substitute in case this goes for like Sand Attack or Feather Dance. Wing Attack doesn't knock out my substitute. Return doesn't one-shot. Hey, there's Feather Dance. And now we knock out Pidgeot. Against Rhyhorn, we can go for Surf. That's 2 down. And we're still behind the substitute. Growlithe now can't intimidate us. We one-shot with Surf. And we're still behind the substitute. Execute can't status us. I go for Outrage. It one-shots. And then Alakazam, Outrage, does not. That is going to be a problem. Oh, it doesn't heal. Interesting. And now Blastoise, I'm confused. And might as well go for Outrage. It doesn't even do half. Okay, that's sucky. And well, I actually might be fine here, although it might heal. Oh, why didn't it? Does Rival 6 not heal? You know, I actually am not aware of the healing or how many potions each trainer has in Gen 3 FireRed LeafGreen. I should actually start to kind of memorize that. You can really tell my familiarity with Red and Blue versus FireRed and LeafGreen. I guess the switching back and forth between the two, I get mixed up because I know in Red and Blue it's just a potion, but healing works totally differently. Either way, I should have all that memorized because we're going to do more runs because these are super fun. But what I'm a little worried about is the Elite Four. The hardest Pokemon for a Dragonite In red and blue, it's not a problem because none of them have Ice Beam. Or at least none of them... Actually, do any of them have Ice Beam? In yellow, they do. But yeah, I don't think there's a single Pokemon with Ice Beam. Just Aurora Beam. Because it's all not TM moves. Blizzard is the only thing Lapras has, which is like a TM move, but it's Blizzard, which is better anyway. Regardless, sorry, I get distracted a lot. Loreley's gonna suck. Like, really badly. And I'm not actually sure how I'm gonna get around it. I don't have any more preamble. Let's just see. All right, well, it doesn't go well. At least not the first time. So I just go for return. It's doing half, but like, okay. Oh, it doesn't even do half. Wonderful, right? Now, this is where I'm going to be paused in real life on the start screen for a while because I don't want to level up to level 70. That would take... I'm at 623. We're already one of the worst Pokemon I've ever done. I don't want to make Dragonite any worse than it has to be, but this is looking pretty grim. Like, what in the world do I do? The answer actually will surprise you. I experimented both with a calculator and trying it out and just thinking out loud a few things. So let me show you some of the things and then what I landed on. All right, first, let's increase the damage to Dugong by getting Brick Break, which is a buyable TM. It isn't, unfortunately, a one-shot, but this is where I learned something really important. Dugong has weird AI where it will often go for a status move first, including Hail. That was a revelation, and I finally got hope. Unfortunately, now we have a problem. What do I do with Slowbro? Outrage doesn't do enough. It also has Ice Beam, and yeah, we're gonna knock out Slowbro, but then the Jinx just destroys me. Outrage, it has great special defense. So, okay, we handled Dugong, but now we have to worry about Slowbro. Brick Break won't work here. So my first thought was actually to go to the game corner and get Thunderbolt. Now, this is where Dugong goes for Safeguard, which is amazing, but importantly, I had to figure out whether Thunderbolt would one-shot Slowbro, and it's not even close. However, if I'm at full HP, the Slowbro also is not guaranteed to go for Ice Beam. From my understanding, the AI will always try to KO if it can, but if it can't, it might go for a different move. So now we've made it to Lapras. However, Thunderbolt doesn't do enough to Lapras because Lapras will heal with the Citrus Berry. So we're going to need to either have Brick Break, Thunder, or both. Thunder is located in the power plant. Brick Break, I have the TM. I didn't overwrite it. You can tell I'm just saving and resetting. So let's try that, I guess. Now, you may also notice I'm a level higher. This is because I started to use a damage calculator and I figured some things out. So what we need to do is not miss. So let's try that again. All right. So maybe we should go with Brick Break instead of Thunder, even though Thunder is slightly stronger because it can go for Hail. So if it goes for Hail, Loreley's going to heal. And now I actually know that it's a range on Slowbro. So we need to hit, which we do. We don't get the range. So that sucks. We actually do get past Jinx and make it to Lapras, but that's all we can really do. All right, now this is kind of what we want to see. This is the ideal battle. So you know what's going to happen. This time Dugong goes for Safeguard. And that's ideal because we're at full HP, and this is going to fundamentally change what happens here. So we get the 70%, and then it's 50-50. So it's a 35% chance to get by Slowbro. Jinx is 100%. It'll always one-shot with return. And then Lapras, funny enough, will always go for Confuse Ray for whatever reason if we're at full HP. But we hit ourselves in confusion, and we lose. It was the ideal battle. I just needed to equip a Person Berry. It took a couple more tries, but we finally get that exact battle again. Like, literally the exact battle. But this time around, we get past Lapras. And then Cloyster only has Dive. For whatever reason, it doesn't have an Ice move. And I'm still furious about what I did next here. I severely underestimated Bruno's Onyxes. And also screwed up with my moves. And didn't have a move that could hit the Onyxes. And so I ended up having to reset. And what I didn't realize at the time is that that battle, which I called the ideal battle, even though I got it 2 times in my last 3 battles, Yeah, turns out it's not so likely to happen. Obviously, Dewgong can go for Ice Beam, but even if it goes for Hail, things go differently because of damage ranges. Now, Lapras's Ice Beam does enough to one-shot me, so it'll always go for it. So not only do I need Dewgong not to use Ice Beam, I needed to use that specific move, right? Well, thankfully, I didn't have to find out right now because I got the, let's call it the ideal battle again versus Lorelie and make it back to Bruno. This time I made sure I had moves for Onix, so here is my move set. I have Dragon Claw, Return, and Thunder. You'll see why I still have Thunder in a second. Now, I used Dragon Claw against the Onix, and then I used against Hitmonchan, which was dumb because Hitmonchan actually has really good special defense. I was just kind of curious. I'm actually really grateful Bruno is still kind of bad here because it got really dicey towards the end. But thankfully, the final Onix doesn't actually have a rock move, because otherwise we would have lost. Agatha is the bane of many of my runs in Red and Blue, but in FireRed Leaf Green, she's so much easier. Now, she does have Levitate, so I can't just go for Earthquake here, but I can go behind a Substitute, and then once I'm behind that Substitute, her status moves just can't hit me. And theoretically, I could do this in Gen 1, by the way, as well. Actually, no, I can't because of Substitute and a bunch of other things. But, like, anywho, regardless of that, is that even proper English? Doesn't matter. She's really, really, really easy. Not a problem at all. And then we make it to Lance. In theory, I could use Blizzard, or I could go buy the TM for Ice Beam like I bought for Thunderbolt. I do have enough money to get the coins, but we don't need that. So I'm going to go behind a Substitute. I know y'all are bored of Substitute, but it's really good. And then Thunder. Fire. No fire, just Thunder. And there we go. Then Dragon Claw and Dragonair. And then Dragon Claw and Dragonair 2. Now it's going to take 2 Dragon Claws to knock out Dragonite. And it goes for Safeguard for no explicable reason. And then I just have to go for Thunder against Aerodactyl and hope I don't get an Omniboost. Thunder is a range and we don't get it. And I decide to play it a little safe and just go for 2 Dragon Claws. Once again, no Omniboost. And we make it to the champ. Now, you might think, you have a Citrus Berry, you've beaten Rival 6. This is going to be easy. What could go wrong? Well, hopefully nothing, but let's see. First things first, this Pidgeot is annoying AF. Gasp. But I go behind a Substitute, and there's the Sand Attack. So I go Dragon Claw. There's another Sand Attack, and we 2-shot Pidgeot. Right on, I don't have Surf, so I go over Dragon Claw, and I get a crit. That's fine. I think Return will be helpful for Alakazam, and here it is. It goes for Psychic, it actually outsped me, which sucks, and Return doesn't one-shot. Oh, okay, I guess I could have stuck with Dragon Claw there. I thought it would. Interesting. I guess a base 100 non-stab move just isn't that great, and you can tell I'm not one-shotting. 90 HP, we're actually not as high as I'd like. I use the Citrus Berry, well, I don't have a choice, go behind a Substitute and avoid the Sleep Powder as a result. I go for Dragon Claw, Sleep Powder fail, Return, okay, I should have gone Dragon Claw. Evidently, that does more now. I do have much higher attack, but actually it's both. Ooh, not Egg Bomb, okay, still behind the Substitute. Everything is good, everything is great. Arcanine can't intimidate, let's go, oh, Extreme Speed, wait. Uh-oh. No. Okay, full restore. No, this could be a problem. All right, come on. No. Don't go extreme. Oh. Well, that sucked. So I guess what I want to do here is just, instead of Return, which didn't really do anything, have Surf for Arcanine and Rhydon. Cool, I guess. Glad I know that after all this. Surely I will get back in a reasonable amount of time. But no, because Lorelie sucks. I beat her again. This is, I think, my 3rd time beating her. And it is what we call the ideal battle. Although, Lapras actually hits me with Ice Beam, and you can tell it almost knocks me out, but not quite, which is really lucky. But then, I screw up against Bruno, because I'm a genius, and that's great. I have Surf. It's not a moveset problem. It's a J-Rose doesn't actually... I use Substitute here, and I thought it would be a smart thing to do, but then I get hit by Rock Tomb a bunch, and yeah. Just don't use Substitute there. At least getting back will be easy, but I'm sure Sean's keeping count. It takes a really long time to get back. And it requires no hail, which is tough. Again, Bruno isn't that bad. I just have to not be dumb, which I almost was again, by the way. Just don't use substitute. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, it's fine. Agatha, I'm not going to show you again. She's really easy. And Lance actually with Surf is not any different because Surf doesn't one-shot Aerodactyl. But after defeating Lance for what I hope is a final time, I have Surf, I equip a Citrus Berry, and I'm going to just hope things go better now that I have Surf. So, same strat as the first time because I thought it would work. Let's go Substitute, and Sand Attack fails. I go Dragon Claw. Okay, the crit is interesting. Aerial Ace hits, and my Substitute holds, which is fine. Then I get a bad range, so I'm going to have to go for Thunder. That was good. Now I can one-shot Rhydon, still behind Substitute, level 62. Perfect. Next is Alakazam. We're going to have to go Dragon Claw. Psychic is going to break our Substitute. We know this. Dragon Claw is going to two-shot. Psychic does a lot, but Dragon Claw does two-shot. Excellent. Executor, the Citrus Berry triggers. We go back behind the Substitute. Sleep Powder fails. I don't know if Dragon Claw is necessarily going to two-shot. It unfortunately doesn't, but it continues to go for Sleep Powder, which is fine. Then it heals. It is very much not a two-shot. It heals again, and eventually I actually get a really nice crit because it very much was not a two-shot. Arcanine, well, it starts off, I go for Surf. It went for Extreme Speed right away, and my Substitute held. So I now have Dragonite, no Substitute. I just have to hit Thunder, and I don't win. Yeah, we take it! Yes! We just have to hit this one more time. Let's go! Oh, God. That was not easy. Holy. And I tried my best. You know, there are a couple things I might have done better at certain points, but like Dratini just, it's not easy to use. Heck, even Dragonite was really tough, guys. Like, this was not easy. And 658. 658. Now, remember Meganium? I actually went and got leftovers. I spent the time to catch 30 Pokemon so I could get the item finder, which is the only way you can locate the leftovers. Yeah, that took less long than Dragonite, albeit I'm at a much lower level, and thus I am still going to rate Meganium as the worst Pokemon, or the Chikorita line, and I'm going to rate Dragonite the second worst we have done so far. That might shock a lot of you, and I'm actually personally, I haven't done the run yet, very curious how Bagon will do, because it's not the same. It has better moves to start, it evolves quicker, or at least the Salamence is level 50, and it has Intimidate, which is going to make a massive difference. It is still Dragon Flying, Lorelei is still going to suck, but it's also faster. Can Salamence beat the other pseudos? Can it beat some of the starters? I don't know when the video's coming out, but should be about a week. So subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll see you all then. Take care.